Hey guys, it's been a long time since my last non-Let's Play video, but it's time to get back to basics with my top 10 games of 2011. Yeah, I know I'm getting this out pretty late, but my anticipated list is on the way, so I have to get through this first. Number 10, Kirby Returns to Dreamland. It's a Kirby game. Do I really need to say anything else? Well, I guess I do, considering Kirby has some pretty bizarre games out there about him riding on rainbow trails and turning into a pinball. But, you know, this is a regular Kirby game. This is the one where he sucks things in and gets powers. And that's my favorite kind of Kirby game. You'll be able to use powers like Feather to kind of turn Kirby into a bird and attack with feathers. So I guess you're tickling your opponents then. And you've got your classics like Fire Kirby, Ice Kirby, Sword Kirby, who has multiple different types of moves, by the way, just like an Ultra Star. And you've got a few interesting ones like Water Kirby. The only time I've ever seen Water Kirby was in that dumb show on the Fox box. Oh, 4Kids. This is the first time that Kirby has co-op gameplay with different characters. I mean, there's been co-op gameplay in the past, but it was always with 4 different Kirbys. Now you get to team up with King Dedede, Meta Knight, and Waddle Dee. Sorry about that. This one doesn't shoot lasers, but he does shoot spears. Also, one of the big highlights of the game is that Kirby now has super abilities that can obliterate everything on the screen. They're similar to the Mike Kirby ability, but you can use them as much as you want within a certain time period. They can also be used to obliterate the stage to reveal secret areas. But yeah, it's low on the list because, you know, it's just a Kirby game, but hey, those are always fun. Number 9, Sonic Generations. Now this is the Sonic game that everyone's been waiting for. Combining classic Sonic and modern Sonic was a great idea. Classic Sonic controls just like he did in the old games, and modern Sonic controls really good too. Of course, I really feel like Sonic Colors was already doing a pretty good job, but I have to admit that this is definitely a big improvement for 3D Sonic gameplay. Plus, it's just such a joy to see these classic 2D sprite levels revived in complete 3D, and being able to traverse them in 3D is equally enjoyable. The music remixes are also fantastically done, though I do wish I could get to hear Flying Battery Zone, which is my favorite Sonic theme of all time. It also feels like they may have put an end to the extremely annoying random fall deaths from the Sonic series, which is one of my biggest gripes from the classic games. I do wish that Tails and Knuckles were playable, and please, don't complain about Sonic's friends. Yes, I admit after Sonic 3 it kind of went a bit haywire, but come on, Tails and Knuckles were fine. A lot of people believe that Sonic 3 with Knuckles is the best Sonic game, and Tails and Knuckles were both playable in those, so what's the big deal? I can understand that they want to keep Sonic in the spotlight, but come on, give Tails another chance. Oh, but we'll get back to that in my top 10 anticipated list. For now, Number 8, Monster Tale. Oh, Dream Rift, you make such delightful crossover genres, such as first puzzle platformer with Henry Hatsworth, and now Metroid exploration and Pokemon? Hey, don't knock it if it works. Monster Tale is a really fun game. Just like Metroid, you have a huge area to explore, where you can find lots of different abilities that allow you to progress. Basically, the story is that a bunch of kids entered the monster world. This is starting to sound like an episode of Digimon. Basically, they took over and have been using the monsters to control everything, and treating them rather harshly. That's where Ellie comes in, a girl with blue hair who enters the monster world and befriends a small, new hatchling monster named Chomp. Together they go on an adventure to stop these little brats from messing up the whole world. I love how Monster Tale works because Ellie has all these attacks, which is cool considering she's just a little girl, and Chomp is basically your familiar, which hovers over your shoulder and attacks things. But be careful, because Chomp can take damage too, and you need to send him to the lower screen for nourishment with cookies and other things. Also, you can give him toys to play with. He'll play with a ball and send it to the upper screen to bounce around and hit things. To further compare it to Pokemon, they even have an interesting grass, water, fire, elemental resistance and weaknesses in the game, and Chomp has multiple forms that represent each element. I just love the originality and unique ideas that come from this game. Okay, it's basically Metroid with monsters, but hey, it works so well. Number 7, Rayman Origins. 2011 was clearly the year of mascot revival. I mean, it's been ages since Rayman got his own game, right? It's been overrun by those stupid rabbits. I just have to say that this game is absolutely beautiful. It goes beyond beautiful. It's amazing to look at. Rayman Origins art style is the result of UB Art Framework, which allows artists to import their art right into the game, and it really shows. The last game I saw that looked just like I was playing a cartoon was Wario Land Shake It, which looked great, but Rayman Origins just blows it out of the water. I feel like I'm playing a real cartoon, and I don't feel like any other video game has ever captured that. But enough about how the game looks. I could go on and on about how gorgeous this game is, but how does it play? It plays really well. The platforming feels just like it did in the other Rayman games, which is solid. The controls feel very tight and polished. The flow of the game feels so alive. It feels like the whole level is moving with you. I can't really explain it, but I'd never really seen this in any other game. It also has a good sense of humor. I've gotten a good laugh out of some of the cinematics, especially the first one where all this trouble starts for Rayman and all his friends. Collecting lums is also a lot of fun, and I really enjoy listening to them sing as I go and collect them all in a row. It even mixes things up with interesting shmup segments. Who else thought it was kind of funny to see Glowbox being flown like a plane and basically spitting at enemies? Rayman Origins is clearly one of the best platformers of this generation, and that is saying something. Number 6. Pokemon Black and White. The more I think about it, the more I doubt that I should have put this Pokemon game this high up on the list. When I really get into it, it didn't really add that much to the Pokemon series. But let's look at the positives. Team Plasma are interesting characters because they question the logic of a world where we just go out and capture creatures and get them to fight. The problem is it doesn't really go far enough with that. And they're a bunch of hypocrites for fighting you with their own Pokemon in the first place. Get some guns, you idiots. I liked N because he was really naive and he was tricked by the team. You know, it's an overused character, but I still liked him, although I felt like he was going to sexually molest me in that Ferris wheel. It's really enjoyable to watch how the characters interact with each other in this one. I feel like they put more effort into that. I like how Cheryl's father just appears and says, "Come home, I don't feel you're safe doing Pokemon battles," and she stands up for herself, which is character development really good. I'm not saying the other Pokemon games lacked it. I'm just saying it feels like they put more effort into it in this one. Also, the triple battles, that was the big deal, and I think I actually like double battles more, but I do think triple battles are an interesting option. Oh, and infinite use on TMs. That is awesome. Now would they just allow us to delete HM moves on our own? So, as you can tell, I've got a lot of gripes. Most of the Pokemon in this generation are rubbish. Ice cream cone Pokemon. But you know what? I think I really did enjoy it enough for it to earn this spot. So yeah, I don't have much more to say other than it's Pokemon, it's fun. I just put it here because I liked it and I played it for a long time. Number 5, Super Mario 3D Land. At last, the Mario game I've been waiting for. A true sequel to Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. Okay, not really. But it is the Mario game I've been waiting for a long time. I wanted a 3D Mario game with classic gameplay, not the stupid, I get the fire flower and now I'm timed on how long I can use it. Man, I hated that in Super Mario Galaxy. No, this time when you get the fire flower, you can use it for as long as you want until you lose it the old-fashioned way, getting hit. And little Mario is in this game, and when you get a mushroom, you grow big. You know, it applies to the classic style of Mario games, and it's all in 3D, which is what I've been waiting for forever. Not to mention, the whole game was designed around making the 3D effect really affect the gameplay. As an example, one time I was playing the game, and it seemed to be a lot harder. I couldn't figure out why. I wasn't able to make the right jumps. Then I realized the 3D slider had been turned off. When I turned it back on, it became easy again. See, they designed the camera and how all the levels work around your view in 3D. It's the first game that really takes advantage of that and doesn't just throw it in. You know, like putting freaking jet boosters in your face in Killzone 3. Lame, Sony. But yeah, they have some interesting power-ups, like the Tanuki suit, which for some reason you have to get the special Tanuki suit to turn into stone, but whatever. By the way, has anyone killed a thwomp yet with that? Because I haven't really tried it yet, because I never have the dang suit when I see a thwomp. But yeah, as you can probably tell, I love this game. It's really a new 3D Mario experience, and what more could you ask for? And the boomerang suit is such a fun power-up. I love return weapons. Well, nothing more to say other than it's a fantastic Mario game, and if you don't own it and you own a 3DS, there's something very wrong with you. Number 4, Dungeon Defenders. Ah yes, Dungeon Defenders. Give me tower defense, give me me an action game with character growth, then let me at it. In Dungeon Defenders, you can team up with 4 friends online or locally to stop a gigantic horde of monsters from destroying your crystal and unleashing a horror from within. There are 4 classes to choose from, like the Huntress who attacks at a distance with her crossbow, the Squire who just cuts down his enemies with a sword, the Apprentice who uses magical attacks, and the Monk who can use both distance and melee. They all have unique towers and defenses they can put up. Like the Huntress's defenses are ultra offensive. They usually blow everything up or poison it, while the Squire's defenses are mostly there to stall for time, but they're also pretty good offensive. For just $15, you get a really fantastic game with lots of challenges and lots of levels. I actually pre-ordered it on Steam, which is something I never do, just so I could get my hands on that portal gun. It took me 30 levels, but I can finally use the portal gun. I also got a bunch of Team Fortress pets. Heavy is so awesome. Not to mention they recently released the Barbarian, which is a dual-wielding class that doesn't really have towers. I just bought it yesterday because it was on sale. Can't wait to try it out. But yes, Dungeon Defenders, hours and hours of fun. Number 3, Portal 2. Portal 2, the game that's made it onto so many top 10 lists this year. I believe it usually ends right up there with Skyrim and Arkham City. There's very little to hate about Portal 2, really. Actually, I kinda doubt there's anything to hate, period. It nails everything. The characters are intriguing and humorous. You want to know their backstory. You want to know how Aperture ended up in this state, and you pretty much learn just about everything you need to. The atmosphere is so interesting because unlike the original where you're kind of stuck in a sterile area with white walls everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the original Portal. I'm just saying there's more variety to the areas in Portal 2. How Aperture is falling apart and vegetation is overtaking the area. I mean, seeing greenery is pretty interesting because it kind of gives you a window into the world you're trying to escape to. Heck, I haven't even really been talking about the gameplay because the characters and atmosphere are just so interesting. But the gameplay is also fantastic. I mean, the puzzles are all well thought out. I mean, it's Valve, so of course they're all well thought out. But once you get it, once you realize how the puzzle works, you get a real sense of satisfaction. And the co-op is just as good. I'm not going to spend that much time talking about it, but it's every bit as enjoyable as the single player, albeit shorter. But yeah, Portal 2, not much to say other than everybody loves it. But I suppose that's to be expected. Number 1 and number 2 were really hard to decide because I love both these games so much. They gave me so much enjoyment this year. But in the end, I had to choose between one of them, and it was close. Very close. But without further ado, number 2, Terraria. Oh, Terraria, according to Steam, you've given me 243 hours of enjoyment. I've seen Minecraft on so many top 10 lists, but not a sign of Terraria, and that's a shame. Maybe it's because people would say, well, Terraria is just copying Minecraft. That's partly the case, but I believe Terraria adds so much that Minecraft lacks. For one, it kind of depends on what you want. In Minecraft, depending on the mode you choose, it's mostly about survival, and you always feel like you're trying to survive. Even when I had like all the diamond armor and stuff, I felt like I was still trying to survive. While in Terraria, once you've acquired some really cool items, you feel like you've accomplished something fantastic. You feel like you're slowly becoming a superhero. Don't like your pathetic jump? Then get a double jump. Don't like that? Get rocket boots. It's stuff like this that makes Terraria so much fun and rewarding. Not to mention, just like Minecraft, it's a blast building your world with doors, traps, and several rooms to occupy your NPCs, who are a lot of fun, especially since they updated it and made it so you can put them wherever you want. Really, when it comes down to it, the thing that I enjoy most about Terraria is just the huge list of different items and accessories you can get. Accessories aren't in Minecraft, and they change up the game so much, making it so you can fly, making it so that when you get hit, a falling star shoots down and hits your enemies. There are even accessories that make it so that you can stay underwater for a lot longer, and if you get deep enough into the game, you can stay underwater indefinitely. Now, I've played both games, and I've played Minecraft for a good amount, but not nearly as much as Terraria. After the big update to Terraria, it became so much better, adding switches and traps, and 4 new bosses, including one in the underworld, and you can play with who knows how many people on a server, so I played this game a lot with my friends. Well, that's all I have to say for Terraria. It certainly was and is an amazing game. And my number one favorite game of this year was The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. This is my favorite Zelda. It utilizes motion controls so incredibly well. It has such inventive items. The beetle alone is fantastic, as is the Windblower. It does such a good job of setting up the rest of the series, and I was surprised at how well the characters were developed and how much I loved the story and cinematics. This is the Zelda game that I had waited since the Wii's launch to get my hands on, and it did not disappoint me. If you were staying away from it because you don't like gimmicky motion control games, then you need to get over that, because this is one of the best Zelda games ever made. Not to mention the upgrading system really gives you a way to spend your rupees. The final battle was really intense. I liked how precise you had to be to hit the boss's weak spot, but it wasn't too hard. And the cell shading is so beautiful. Not to mention it brings back sword beams. They're kind of weak in the beginning of the game, but they get better. I could go on and on about how much I love Skyward Sword, but there really isn't that much time left, so that's all I have to say. See you next time for my top 10 most anticipated games of 2012.